Ooh, yeah.
3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to the Knives Templars.
Get ready, y'all. We about to Bobby Boucher you. Bam!
I got a piece off of the wagon that Sam Houston used to take JFK to the moon.
Pinto sauce. I like that. Pinto sauce.
Pinto sauce. You're tuned in to the Knives Templars podcast, featuring Odisir Special Sauce Pinto.
I was a mean kid.
Long time listener, first time caller.
Eric T.R.E. Rivers.
Holy crap, I built something.
Don the Train Watson.
I can pay off all my credit cards and beef jerky credit line at Bucket.
Joey the Riot Terrio.
Cochon de lait will make you smack your lips and anyone getting too close to your plate.
Mark Vasallo.
You drinking my soupy?
And Chip Shegman Carlisle. And now broadcasting alive, it's the Knives Templars. Coming to you live from Forecast Studios located in Hartselle, Alabama and other U.S. locations. This is the Knives Templars podcast. We are the coolest knife-making podcast on the planet, and we are downloaded around this big blue marble in over 24 countries. We are on air, on demand, and heard worldwide in all of your favorite apps and at knivestemplars.com.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? This is Mark V. Max Vasala from the Knives Templars, the best podcast in the, I guess I have to say the world now. I mean, it's got to be close, if not right? And so I want to welcome everybody here tonight and look forward to having some great knife talk and chat with some great knife makers here. Chip, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, man. That was perfect. That was perfect. You did a great job. You said we were the best. You know, I'm always nice. I'm nice. I don't want to say we're the best. I don't know if we're the biggest, but our downloads are growing. And I tell you what, we're the best in my mind. And not that any of the other ones out there aren't great podcasts as well. I just like to think that we put a lot of effort into ours, and we're quite proud of what we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. But hey, guys, you ready for a new episode of the Knives Templars?
Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah, let's go.
As you said, the best podcast made to teach rising and established makers like you how to pave your way into making knives as a hobby or as a business. We can be heard in 24 countries, and we want to welcome you to Season 3, Episode 27. 27, guys.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is
Wow.
also our birthday, right?
It was our birthday last week. We are a year old. So we want to thank everybody for this last year as I'm getting ready to pay my annual rent for this studio because we do it at our cost because we love to do it. And thank everybody for their listenership, making us the best rising podcast out there, certainly for knife making on this planet Earth. And as far as I know, in this solar system. So, hey, that's my story. I'm going to stick to it.
Yep.
Hey, have you guys been out on knivestemplars.com this week?
Yes.
We have.
Yes,
It's
I
looking good. I'm getting some great feedback. You know, if you want to go to knivestemplars.com, you can sign up for an upcoming newsletter we're going to start putting out. You can send in general ideas, requests to be on the show, product reviews, just anything you want to send us, and we will interact with you. More importantly, this knife making podcast is made for folks that are getting into knife making, thinking about knife making, intermediate knife makers, great knife makers, or the best of the best, the stars that are out there. So if you're out there and you want a voice, I tell you, this show, we'd be humbled to have any one of you at any level. So go out and check us at theknivestemplars.com. See what a cool website we had. There's not a lot of podcasts out there with cool websites as well. So go out there and check out the website and be sure and interact with us. Who wants to hear what's on the menu tonight, guys?
I do, Chip. Please
let's go.
It's kind of predictable. It's kind of predictable, but the fun is not. So we're going to continue on with our brew review. People are enjoying learning a little bit about the beers that I drink, and we're going to go into a little bit of news and information. I've got some interesting stuff here. You know, we talked about, we've talked about chickens killing people, turkeys attacking a trailer park. How to do number 2 in the woods properly. And, they say everything comes around full circle, and we've got another potty story for you. Yeah, I just can't wait. But hey, guys, it's been a slim week. I don't like to talk about violence and all that stuff, but the story from South Carolina has been overtaking everybody in the last week, and thank goodness that's over. We can get back to stupid news again. We got some feedback. We've got the Pops Maker's Mark with us tonight. Man, I've loved this. This is one thing that's been uniting our knife making community. I want to thank Pops Knife Supplies for supporting us on that. But we've got every episode we have a Maker's Mark show guest that presents their Maker's Mark in a sense and lets us know a little bit about them and what they do. And we've had such great folks. I tell you what, we're not letting you down. We've got another one on here tonight who was a contestant in the most recent Last Blade Standing. And we'll introduce him to you a little bit later. Jason Fry's back tonight with some more knife making tips. And we got some questions because we've got a good panel of guys here. Joey's chasing down some crayfish in Louisiana, I hear, and I believe that our buddy, what's his name?
Eric
who?
Eric, the Rivers Experience.
Oh, you mean Mr. 34,000 subscribers on
That's right.
YouTube?
Yeah.
That's right. Mr. Eric Rivers, somehow or another, I don't think he paid his cable bill, but he's not out. He says it'll be up in a maybe. He says he might make the show tonight if they get it back up. I think he's trying to get down there to pay the bill right now. You know, I'm just joking. Eric's a great guy. He's been traveling lately, and the wind has been blowing down in the south this past few days, so I can understand things being out. Got a few topics we're going to talk about in the week ahead, and then we're going to travel on down the road and wait for episode 28, I believe. Is that right? Where did I say we were? 27 or 28?
27.
Yeah,
We are
28.
episode 27 now. That's right, episode 28.
27.
We're getting so high up the poll. I know the guys, we've got 200 episodes. I don't care. We've been working on this for a year, putting the episode out twice a month, and we're already up to 28. I mean, by the time I retire, we may be up to 33. But I tell you what, it's been fun getting there. Quality, not quantity. Quality, not quantity. So, guys, with all that being said, I do want to let you know before we go into the brew review, I want you guys to remember we've got a great new sponsor, Maritime Knife Supply, and they supply some very great equipment as well as supplies for knife making. They are located up in the Northeast, right across the Canadian border, but they supply to makers in the United States and other places, including their home country of Canada. Mark, I believe you just got an order from Maritime Knife Supply, did
I did, and small order, but some of the stuff I've been wanting to try out for a while. I got some, those polishing. I think they're called polishing stones or sanding stones.
Yep.
And
Right.
so I got a set of those. I've been seeing those people use those, so I haven't tried them out yet, but getting ready to do those. And bought a whole bunch of drill bits, those starter drill bits. The ones that are two sided and they have the little small tip and then kind of a countersink
Right.
one specifically for handles, so that I can
I love
really
those. Yeah.
really get on that line right when you're trying to drill that hidden tang handle. And then I got a couple of ulti clips because I want to try those on some.
Now, what is an ulti clip?
Oh yeah, if you haven't used one of those, so I haven't used them, but I've seen them, and really, it's a metal clip for the backside of your sheath, and it'll.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
And then as you press it down, it'll like lock in place,
Right.
and so it's good for some of these smaller knives I'm making that you want your sheath to go in your pocket.
Yeah,
I kind
interior
of like it
pocket.
for that working. Yeah, and then you clip it on there, and it has a nice secure fit. And so I want to try them out. They look like to be a perfect use. So this is going to be on my next sheet that I make. So
Yep.
and then
How was the shipping?
so it was really quick. Everything came in quick. So it was a good experience. And I think I got a couple of punches that I needed, and just a good little supply. But I guess while I'm talking about that, my biggest excitement though was I went to Harbor Freight. And that was my
Wait. So Otis here, People can go to
we're still working on
maritimeknifesupply.ca
it.
and if there's anything left at the store, Mark, I thought you said you ordered a small order, but I think that they're probably taking this week to replenish the thousands of items that you purchased, it sounds like.
Hey,
But
it's all good stuff.
maritime.ca, yes, maritime.ca, go out and check them out. So I hear you went to Harbor Freight.
I guess I was too excited about that Harbor Freight purchase.
Yeah.
So finally, I've been wanting a welder for a long time, and so finally I got a Harbor Freight gave me in the mail a 25% off any item, no restrictions coupon, and
Nice.
left work early just so I could make it there on time, and got myself an Omni Pro 220 multi-process welder. From them. So Vulcan welder. So
How I
it's
wish we lived closer together now, so much more than I did
yeah.
yesterday. Man, yeah, I've been thinking about buying one too because I want to do some canisters, or just weld a piece of steel on the end of these forging pieces I'm making, just to make them easier than they're easy enough to hold, but when you just weld something on, I just love the
Sure.
ease of the way that looks. But I thought you were going to tell me you bought some beer at Harbor Freight because this is the
Ooh.
brew review. Mark, what you drinking tonight?
So I'm drinking some water. It's it's Lent for me, and so
Yeah.
Fridays is I'm keeping off the alcohol, and so next couple weeks I'll be after a little bit of embellishment during Mardi Gras. It's time to pull back for a couple weeks for me.
It'd have been much easier to like do away with like McDonald's French fries, but hey, to each his own.
It would.
To each his own. Don, is it cow night?
It's cacao. Same thing. That's that drink I love to have after a hard day's work in the shop. I don't drink coffee at night.
I'm beginning to think you may need an intervention because you are addicted to the cow.
Oh, that's good stuff,
Otis,
man. That's good stuff.
Otis here, he's looking at labels. You telling me you're just sitting there with dry mouth, Otis here right now?
No. Today I'm having some pure cranberry juice and some Perrier strawberry
Oh,
flavored
okay.
water. Making a little drink. No alcohol for me today.
Well, I am presently drinking a Michelob Ultra.
Oh.
So one could say there's no alcohol for me either today.
That's about it.
And honestly, I really do not like to drink in excess. I don't like to drink to the point that I even start feeling lightheaded. In my career, I'm always on call. So I certainly have always lived by that I don't want to ever have to embarrass myself. So essentially, Michelob Ultra just basically cleanses the kidneys.
Yeah.
You tinkle a lot. But occasionally I do love craft beers. I like special beers. And got one this past 2 weeks that we've been out away from each other. And it is from the Nashville area. And it is called, it's going to be perfect, the Badonkadonk Stout.
I'm liking it.
From the Honky Tonk Brewing Company in Nashville, Tennessee. Here's what the brewer says. The brewer says, founded by the one and only Scott Swigert, Scott fell in love with the craft beer while living in Colorado. It's good that's all he fell in love with in Colorado. Because then he moved to Nashville. Guys, I was in Nashville recently. I don't care what people do in their own time, and I don't care one way or the other. My gosh, the world has changed. There's little, like hot dog stands. There's marijuana stands all over downtown Nashville.
Yeah.
Well, same here in Maryland.
I'm not going to get into a debate on which side of the fence you're on that. I don't care. To each his own. But for us old guys like me and Don,
Yep.
Don, the world has changed, has it not?
It has, buddy. It sure has.
So, but I will tell you this: I've been sleeping like heck, and I was at my wife I was talking to her last night. I said, "Everybody's taking that CBD oil gummies so that they can sleep better at night. You want to get some?" And she looked at me funny and said, didn't you used to work in pharmaceuticals? I was like, yeah. She says, what do you think? I said, yeah, no, it's not evaluated by the FDA, blah, blah, blah. Not for safety. I'm not concerned about that, but there's a lot of snake oil out there. Anyway, he moved to Nashville. He founded Honky Tonk Brewing in 2012 as the brewmaster. Let me tell you what I think about this beer. I'm not too dramatic tonight. It was a good beer, but I just want to explain it to you where it took me. Otis, you remember when you were a kid? Yeah, man.
No, not really.
I
It was
remember
a long time ago.
Well, I'm 58, and I can remember when I was a kid. We were down we'd go down to the frozen lake in the wintertime. We'd be out there with a knife, chopping through that ice just so you could sit over a hole with a bucket. Anybody ever here been ice fishing?
No, I haven't. No.
Yep.
With a rod and a worm trying to catch just a yellow perch or a bluegill or whatever. I always went for yellow perches or walleyes, mostly yellow perches. Anyway, y'all probably don't care, but that little fish was a well to me back then. I'd be out there cold and worn out. Sometimes a fish in hand. I'd make it back home towards the end of the day, and I'd come through the door. My mom would meet me there with a piping hot bowl of Campbell's soup, chicken noodle, and it would melt right off of me. And she'd take that fish from my hands, and I'd sit there warming and eventually make it to the TV to watch a little bit of Gilligan's Island in the afternoon. Let me tell you guys, about 5 p.m., old Daddy'd walk through the door, and he'd say, "Hey, son." "Yes, Daddy." "Yes, Daddy." He'd say, "How was that fishing today?" I'd respond, "It was cold, Daddy, but I got us a perch." Daddy'd give me the thumbs up. He'd crap. Hope he dug a cat hole. Not in the house, Daddy. He'd crack a Pabst Blue Ribbon, and Mom would walk by him and pop him on his badonkadonk. Daddy'd giggle a little bit, and he'd go sit down in his chair with his Pabst Blue Ribbon and his paper while Mama tended to make taters and perch for dinner. That's this beer. That's what this beer tastes like to me.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
But I will tell you, it's a decent little Tennessee American stout. It's got 7%, you know. You got to watch how many of these you drink. It pours dark black and thin cola highlights. It quickly dissipates, though. That head comes right off of it, turns to a white tan foam, and it settles to a thick ring, light clumping pool right there in the top of that glass, and it shows some sparse lacing. The nose of it is a dark cocoa with a light char, a little subtle smoke, and dark roasted malts with a hint of cream, like stout should be. Flavors are lightly exceed the nose with a subtle coffee, dark roasted malts, and some full fruits, light cola notes, and subtle cream. Nice mouthfeel, full bubbly, medium high carbonation that just makes you feel comfortable. But I will tell you that the beer didn't overwhelm me. I do like a good stout, but there's a little too much carbonation. But even with that said, it's a nice brew. I'm going to give that one 4 hops.
Oh, okay, 4.
But if you're in the Nashville area, I suggest that you go by Nudies. And while you're at Nudies, that's Nudie Cons, get you a stout, a badonkadonk. Have y'all been to Nudies?
No, I've never heard of it.
I've not.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you say that to most people, and they go, "You can go to church." Nudie Con. If you've ever seen those fancy suits those people wear on the stage, the all embroidered suits over the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you know what I'm talking about, guys?
Yeah.
The country
Yeah.
suits. Nudie Khan was the guy that sewed all those.
Really?
There's another gentleman, and that continues
Huh.
on. There's a guy, I believe in his late 80s, early 90s, that's still doing it, and a couple other people up there, but they were called nudie suits. So
I'll
if
be darned.
you had a
I didn't
nudie
know
suit,
that.
if you had a
Porter
yep,
Wagner.
if you had a nudie suit, yep,
Like
Porter
Porter Wagner
Wagner,
wore, yep.
and yep. Yeah, he always wore one his whole career. If you say you had a nudie suit, an official one, you had one that was sewn by the hands of Nudie Khan. So I've actually seen quite a few original Nudie Khans up at the Country Music Hall of Fame up there, and they're pretty neat. They are pretty neat. when you see them up close, they just look like they're hand-stitched beautiful suits, but when they're on stage, they take on a whole different air of themselves. So that's your beer. That's your beer recommendation, and that's where you should get it. Go get you a beer at Nudies in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right.
So now that I've rocked you guys' world all about that, and you're going to go look up NudieCon on Facebook. Let's take a little break. We'll be right back.
All knife makers need abrasives, plain and simple. Here at Knives Templars, we're proud to partner with Phoenix Abrasives. I used to get my belts from another company, but they spent more time on marketing than they did customer service, sometimes taking 2+ weeks to ship my order. That's not the case with Phoenix Abrasives. They're obsessed with committing all of their resources to customer satisfaction. Whether you're using a 2x72, 2x42, 1x30, or something else, they've got you covered. They even carry Rhino wet sandpaper. So go to phoenixabrasives.com/shop and enter promo code Templars10 for 10% off your next order.
So, Otis here, you ever think about getting some nudie suits made for Blade Show this year?
We'll see. We'll see.
You wouldn't let me go with the Village People look. What about a nudie suit?
You sent that old night vest kind of deal. I don't know about that one, man. That looks kind of KKK-ish too. I mean, we should
not say KKK is. Don't even talk about KKK. That's a bad word.
Yeah,
that's white robes. You're talking about Hell's Angels, not KKK.
Oh, okay.
It was a motorcycle.
About a different one.
Please do not mistake motorcycle jackets with KKK.
No. That was the Village People jacket.
Yeah, there you go again. Do not mistake. If you walk up to a motorcycle gang in downtown Baltimore and go, "Oh, look, it's a Village People convention," you better. I would suggest you start running or buying all the beers. One of the two.
Village People deal, man. No, forget that.
They
ruined that look.
They will bend you into a Y, a C, and an M and an A all at one time. So. Hey guys, we got some news. We'll get through the news so we can get on to the fun part. Just want to get through it. Want to remind everybody that it's still coming up. Batson's Bladesmithing Symposium is coming up March 31st, April 1st and 2nd. You don't want to miss it. It's the 34th annual Batson Bladesmithing Symposium and Knife Show conducted at Tannehill Knife Works or Iron Works in the historic state park of McCalla, Alabama. There'll be knife show and demonstrations with food and hands-on learning for a nominal fee. I believe it's around $10 or so. More importantly, I'm going out there looking for a anvil. Did y'all see that 1,000-pound anvil I sent y'all pictures of?
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved how Josh Howard said he'd like to get a hold of that and play with it.
I think he's probably on his way to get that thing.
He's got that giant hammer he's got, and if he had that, and I saw that he's building another. I don't know if y'all saw it there. He lives close to me. I need to go up and see him. He's building another power hammer right now. So what an interesting guy. He's going to be there cooking the pig. So if you can get a chance to go down there, you don't want to miss it. Otis here, you need to fly into Huntsville. We'll go down there together. I got an extra hammock. We can string it up between trees and we can hammock camp it.
It's a bit cold to sleep on the hammock right now.
No, not that time.
So I would disagree with that.
April?
I have hammock camped in the snow and that was some of the best camping I've done.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've got my quilts for hammock camping, and I've got one that's mine. It goes down to -20, and then I've got a up to a 30-degree one. I got 3 quilts, and then most of the time when I'm out in the forest, the big thing is just keeping some insulation between your back and bum and the bottom of it, because you need to keep some air between your backside and that hammock so that you're insulated. Otherwise, your rear end will fall asleep and freeze to death all night. But it's not bad at all, Otis here.
Well, my only experience with hammocks was when I was still living in the jungles in Brazil. Sleeping in a hammock there is a whole different ball game. You have to, so those giant spiders won't be crawling up your when you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to sleep on the ground in the jungle. Forget that.
No.
I've seen some of
So
that stuff.
hammock.
Did you keep a little monkey with a rope tied around his neck as a pet?
No, but I got bitten by one once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. He stole something from me, and then I had to fight him off to get my stuff back, and I got a bite. So you know.
Well, so you got the monkey off your back, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what Peter Gabriel said, don't you? Touch the monkey. Ow. Don't touch the monkey, Peter. It was just a song. Just a song. Blade Show Texas is coming up March 17th and 18th. From the minds who bring you Blade Show Atlanta, where we're all going to be, the world's largest knife show, comes a 2-day celebration and a cowboy creation extravaganza in the heart of Texas. Explore over 300 exhibitors of custom and factory knives. Watch free knife demos and become part of the knife community. It's going to be held at the Fort Worth Convention Center. Get your tickets, get there, have fun. Blade Show is a blast, is it not? You guys that have been there?
Oh yeah. It's amazing.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I won an award last year. What came home with a custom knife? It's the Friendship Award.
Awesome.
Ah, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. It had the tiger. It had the panther paw stamp of approval. Puma paw. All right, guys, we got some bad news too. Well, I guess it's not bad. I love to see science and medical science. You know, we always want to see improvements in medical science, correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
Oh.
So I want to let you guys know the Associated Press on January 31st told us that 6 doctors swallowed Lego heads. You know those little heads, the little people, they got little round little heads on them?
Yep.
Swallowed 6 Lego heads for science, and here's what came out. When Dr. Andy Tang was a toddler, he swallowed a Lego piece. Actually, 2 stuck together. I thought, well, just put it in my mouth and try to get them apart, and the next thing I know, they went down my hatch. Now, as an emergency physician at Western Health in Melbourne, Australia, gives new meaning to Down Under, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Andy says he meets a lot of anxious parents whose children are succumb to this impulse. The vast majority of kids like Andy simply pass the object through their stool within a day or two. Still, Andy wondered whether there was a way to spare the parents from this needless worry. You ever had a grandkid that swallowed something, Don?
Yes, I have.
I did too, but I just figured if it was smaller than a penny, it was going to work its way out while everybody else freaked out.
It will.
Yeah, it does. I didn't go looking for it. I just assumed it'd come out. He's a couple years older now, so something must have gone right. But sure, you can reassure parents, this doctor said, one by one, that they probably don't need to come up to the emergency room or worse yet, dig through their kids' poop in search of an everyday object. But Andy and 5 other pediatricians went the extra mile. They wondered, is there a way to get this message out through science? The 6 doctors devised an experiment and published the results. Each of them swallowed a Lego head, says science journalist Sabrina Embler, who wrote about the experiment for The Defector. They wanted to basically see how long it took to swallow and excrete a plastic toy. Recently, Sabrina sat down with shortwave scientist and resident Regina D. Barbara to chart the journey of the 6 Lego heads and what came out on the other side. New meaning to the word down under. The study excluded 3 criteria: any previous gastrointestinal surgery. That's a big word. I got through that. Gastrointestinal. The inability to ingest a foreign object. An aversion to searching through fecal matter. I ain't sticking my hands in that. The researchers then measured the time it took for the gulped Lego heads to be passed. The time interval was given in a found and retrieved time score, otherwise known as FART.
Gosh.
That's all I got, guys. I don't know how long it took to come out, but I just assumed it did.
I was looking forward to see how long.
But I love it.
Have you ever eaten corn?
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
You know the answer.
Yeah, but then you got to count how many you ate, and did it all come out?
Yeah.
I don't know. But if you do, hey Mark, what's your fart score? The found and retrieve time score.
Oh,
one day.
Keep it to yourself, Mark. And with all that crappy news, we'll be right back.
Hey listeners, let's take a moment today to thank one of our sponsors for today's show, and that sponsor is AmeriBraid Grinders. Eric and Kevin over at AmeriBraid have sold thousands of these grinders, and they are super nice guys, and their customer service is excellent. I would know. I've been personally using their 2x72 grinder now for 2 years, and it has changed my knife making to a whole new level. So if you're in the market for or looking to upgrade from that 1x30 or 2x42, then give AmeriBraid a look. There you'll find they have 3 packages of grinders to offer. They have a mastery package, a foundations package, and a get grinding package, in which all of them come at different price points. So I'm sure you'll find something that'll suit your needs as a knife maker. Also, AmeriBraid has a ton of innovative attachments for their grinders. So listeners, you can find out about all of this at www.ameribraid.com. Go give them a look, see what they have to offer today. And now, back to the show.
All right, guys. Well, that, so far, the show's been quite crappy.
Yeah.
Where's Eric and Joey? We need them.
Yeah.
How about some feedback before we go into the Pops Maker Mark series, guys? I want you to know I had a nice message from Gene Kimmy, Kimmi.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I haven't missed an episode yet. Thanks for giving us a great podcast to listen to. Short and sweet, but hey.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate it, buddy.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Yeah, our downloads are really starting to increase here lately, and you guys do a great job. I know they don't come on here to listen to me, so thank you guys for helping us to be a great podcast. All right, guys, so let's jump into the Pops Maker Mark series. This week we have a great show guest. He was a last blade standing contestant that just competed just last week. He owns MC Bladesmithing on Facebook. He's on TikTok, and you can find him by his name, Jeffrey McGuffey, on Instagram. Jeffrey, welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing, everybody? How you doing?
Welcome, man.
Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to have you. It's great to have you. So, tell us a little bit about you. Where do you come from, and what got you into knife making? And we're going to work our way all up to the present date. Now, don't start when you were born. just go back to an appropriate time, the appropriate time. Now, if it's important that you were born in Tahiti, that's fine. Tell us, but just find a good spot to start. Welcome to the show, Jeffrey.
Well, I was born, period. I'm a military brat. Graduated high school. Just never really buckled down on anything and started making knives, and I caught on to it just like riding a bike. It's helped me deal with a lot of issues, and I really like the researching and finding good information. I'm pretty much self-taught. I've taken one knife class.
You must have paid attention.
Yeah, I kind of a little bit of ADHD.
Because you make beautiful knives.
OCD. Thank you very much.
Well, I will say, you were holding, you were holding up some knives here for us to see, and of course, our listeners can't see the knives we talk about, so we encourage our listeners to go out to the different host and guest Instagram or Facebook pages to see the knives that they talk about, but. You recently competed on Last Blade Standing, and you had a short sword, and it was absolutely beautiful. The guard on it and everything. What led up to your design on that particular short sword? And tell us about Last Blade Standing.
Oh, Last Blade Standing,
not sanding.
Anybody out there that knows. It was a short sword competition, 64 makers across the United States. I think it was 27 states. All proceeds, we're going to auction off the swords, and all proceeds will go to the National Pediatrics Foundation.
Good. Awesome.
He had put up some parodies
Yeah.
for the rule. On my design, he had put some parodies up, movie parodies, and one of them was Goonies with One-Eye Willie the Pirate. So I was never really into that. I like the little Asian guy, the Inspector Gadget guy. So I figured pirate sword. And there were no mermaids, so I figured I incorporate a mermaid into it. So I went from there to your quintessential. I designed the pirate sword that every pirate carries that was never made for a pirate.
So how'd you do?
I made it to the finals. Wonderful, wonderful David Baker broke my blade first round. I was the first sword, first round. Took a good chip in the blade. But the basket hill,
I was going to say it was.
I'm sorry.
It was only a little. It was only a little chip. It wasn't the whole thing broke in half. So. And I understand. But man, we were knowing you, and in being in our particular Knives Templar group. It was so exciting to see your enthusiasm.
Yeah.
And you going through that, because I can tell you, I'm not sure about the other guys here tonight, but as far as putting your blades on the line, bending it at 30 degrees, going through the chopping test and all the other things. Has anybody else here on the show gone through anything like that?
Nerve-wracking.
I haven't, no.
Yeah. So I would say, man, you got 1 or 2 up on us, or maybe 30 up on us, because you're standing there in front of all those people putting yourself through that. You get down to the Sweet 16, and you should be extremely proud of yourself. And I know that you are certainly encouraged, because you came home, and what are you doing? You're making another sword.
Well, I'm making another blade to replace the one broke, so it still can be auctioned off, so we can make money for the children. I posted the bend test today. That's of the new blade.
Right. Well, what are you going to do with the old blade? You're going to keep it as a souvenir to yourself?
Stick it on the wall. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. David Baker broke it.
There you go.
Where can we see the blade? Where can we see the blade? You have your is it on Instagram and stuff?
The sword is all over Last Blade Standing, their Facebook group. You can also find it at MC Bladesmithing Facebook group. You can find me on Instagram at Jeffrey McGuffey, and you can find me on TikTok, MC Bladesmithing. I've only been doing this about 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Well done.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have 2 detached biceps, but I do all handwork. And I just like doing handwork. It keeps my brain busy. That's my thing. I was never good at anything. I failed at so many things in life. And I'm on a pretty good roll.
Everybody. Well, everybody is not good at everything. And sometimes it takes us a little time to find where our calling is. In my life, I've done a lot of things, and it's interesting how, maybe like you, I find so much pleasure in working with knives, because while there's a lot of people that can do it or very good at it, I don't know if we are 0.0001 of society as a whole, or what we are. It kind of sets us apart in a different class. And what's interesting about blacksmithing and bladesmithing is it evens the playing field. Doesn't matter if you're man or woman, or 21 or 91, whether you got a PhD or a GED. It puts us all on a level playing field. I mean, we're a motley crew. We even hang out with a Brazilian Panther wrestler, and and look at us. He makes some of the most beautiful knives in the world as well. So I hear what you're saying. Who here would say that making knives is good for your mental health?
Oh yes, no doubt.
Have to, yes.
Takes
Yes,
away,
absolutely.
takes away your stress, your artistic expression. And I heard Sheryl Crow one time say
It's good to
that
build
she,
self-esteem.
oh yeah, it does. Sheryl Crow had said on some show I was watching one time about dealing with anxiety and depression and things in her life, and that music took her away from that. And maybe it's just those people that think with the minds that this side of our brain versus that back or front or whatever side. That, and I'm not saying that everybody has anxiety or depression or this, that, and the other. It just helps people with our kind of brains to express ourselves, to find beauty in the world beyond just the beauty that God's created, the beauty that you can create with the hands that God created on you. So I just love how knife making, blacksmithing levels the playing field, and put yourself on a pedestal, Jeffrey, because I tell you what, you're pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was
Nice
just
work.
looking at that sword there. It looks pretty nice. I love that basket hilt right there, man. It's something that it is not very easy to do, right?
No.
And yeah, for 4 years doing that, that's pretty good.
Yep. Well done.
Yeah. How did you hammer that out?
That's
What did you hammer it out on?
piece of wrought iron from a wagon wheel. I had I had designed a D guard just in case that one didn't work, so I got a whole another sword to put together. Have a backup and everything.
Oh wow!
But it was.
But how did you hammer that out to shape? What was did you do that on a flat face, or what did you
I did
use
on
to
the
hammer that?
anvil, and the narrow part, which would be the D card part, it's actually I forged it in narrow, got me a rough shape, and then I forged the hull. I drifted the hull for the tang, and I got me a rough bend, and then I got in there and dremeled everything. It was the first time I've ever done any kind of Dremel carving.
Yeah.
And then the netting, that's all hand filed. And then
and people can't see them. You've held up some other knives for us tonight that people can't see, but so it just doesn't stop there. You're making a beautiful
knives, daggers, hunting knives.
Yeah.
Are you doing this full time, or is it like a side gig?
I'm truly a hobbyist. I'm not very good with computer technology, so I just pretty much make my stuff. If somebody wants something, hit me up. Every now and again, I have a tendency to forget to repost things available. I'm very forgetful.
Okay.
Or I'm in.
Well, you and I were talking. You and I were talking pre-show that you live in Live Oak, Florida, and I mentioned there's a poultry company down there. I was going to say you ought to be making deboning knives and lining up down there at their main offices, selling knives, deboning knives. The problem with that is being wet knives. They'd have to be out of stainless or something. But I tell you what, they would never get dull. That's for sure. They're just gorgeous knives. What are your plans for the future in knife making?
Well, right now I'm working on my ABS, and pretty much right now.
How far along are you into it?
This is my first year, and just
okay, good.
Feeling out everything, trying to get all the terms correctly and understand what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and just push myself every day, do research, practice. Did I say practice?
You did. Right. What kind of grinder are you running?
I just run a 2x72 Grizzly. That's it. I have
nice.
I have a Whisper Mama. I have a 1964 Williamson anvil. I think it's about 165-ish. And that's pretty much it. I do everything else by hand, and all this stuff behind me. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, what are you heat treating with?
I use my oven. Right now, I use a stick into 5160s, 1084, something that I can reach in the forge. If I got a cylinder that I use for deflecting the heat and bring the cylinder up to temperature, shoot it with a laser.
Right.
Then I do my tempering in my oven.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Cool. That's
So
real good.
that's good. Yeah. We've had some guys here talking about heat treat ovens, and I know
Yeah,
Don
I'm working
was
on it.
telling us his favorite day in
$3,500.
his life. Yeah.
It's on
I
my
know
wish
Don's
list.
favorite day in his life was when his heat treat oven showed up at his
That's
door.
right. That's right,
And then
Chip.
he started doing the "I've got an oven and y'all don't dance." So
Yeah, I pretty much have an
so
anvil, a hammer, and a grizzly grinder. That's pretty much it.
yeah. Well, it shows because you've got a lot of sandpaper.
Yeah, I mean,
Got a lot of sandpaper.
equipment wise
But I look
is
at
nice,
the
right?
olden days. They didn't need it. They really
Yep,
didn't.
that's true.
That's true.
And I take my
No,
What
they
were you
didn't
saying,
need
Jose?
it, but they would have had it if we had it. Sorry. Go
I
ahead.
love hand sanding. Strike me dead. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
That makes two of us.
You
I
like
guess
it?
really don't.
you're the first one who ever said it. I mean, because I do hand
You
sanding
enjoy it.
a lot.
I enjoy
You know
it.
what I think is when you
Isn't it peaceful? Isn't it peaceful? You just sit there, the steel, and you just
You can.
working that hand sanding in there,
When
putting
I'm
all
hand
those
sanding,
lines the way you
I
really
feel like
wanted to.
a layer of glass is developing in between the grain and the surface as I'm standing. It's like that layer just develops thicker and thicker.
Yep.
So you can see the
Yep.
grain
Yep.
structure if you're underneath your mirror and everything. Your glass.
a lot of it has to do with having the right tools. So if you've got the right
Yeah.
sanding sticks or sanding backing, it's not. I remember when I first started, I just grabbed a piece of steel and went at that. And when I actually went out, and I think these days I know for sure I'm using a piece of linen 5/8 or whatever the 3/8 thick or whatever linen micarta with a piece of leather. Carpet taped to the back of it, so I've got a soft side
Nowadays,
and a
you
hard
see a
side.
lot of people, they'll be wet hand sanding with one hand. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
How do
and
you wet sand the blade with one hand? You're not getting even pressure. You're going through the
yeah, you got to
motions.
set yourself up with the right tools. Yeah, set
Yes.
yourself up with the right tools, and is much easier. I actually don't mind sanding, and I think Mark said he recently purchased some. I may be wrong here, Mark, but I got sanding sticks, the little stone sanding sticks, and I use those to take out a lot of the deep sanding in the beginning, and then I work myself down to paper, even though I've got paper to go through all those different levels. And it really just depends on the knife, but a lot of times I'll do that.
With hand sanding is they don't realize they're sitting there scrubbing on that scratch, trying to get the scratch to go away when they need everything around that scratch to go away to make the scratch go away. They sit there rubbing
Yes.
on
That's
that
right.
scratch,
That's
trying to
right.
make it disappear, and you got all that other stuff to go away to make that scratch disappear. And I
Yeah.
forget it
Yep.
at
You got to
times
bring
because
the
I'll
whole
get
surface
focused and I'll
down.
be, "Arr." And there's just
So
little things like
what is your hand sanding progression?
I usually go
What is your
from
hand sanding progression? Where do you start and where do you stop?
I go from 240 to 500 to 6, 5 to 8 to about 1,000 to 12.
Okay, well, similar to me. I do 220.
Yeah, I skip
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 in
Yeah,
between.
I do 220, 400, 600, and sometimes I go up to 1,000, but seldom I go anything higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that dagger I'm working on that I showed you earlier today,
Hmm.
yeah, I got it on 600 right now.
That's nice.
So Jeffrey, how long you been growing that beard? It's a good foot
Uh,
and 3 inches long.
4.5 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
I cut
Well,
I
you've cut
grabbed
some
it and
of it
just
off
cut a
along the way
chunk
then.
off of it a couple months back.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, lighting the forge, you lose some.
I lost some beard in a forge one time. Yes.
Hey, y'all remember that picture I sent you on our chat group of that guy with the big old beard? They got caught up on a buffer or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And ripped his beard off.
Yeah.
That must have been painful.
The
Oh,
angle
brother.
grinder guy. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
brother.
I
That must
actually,
have hurt.
when I used to work around my stuff, I had some beard COVID mask that I had from the COVID era, and they were folded underneath, so your beard would sit in it, so you could wear it around your ears, and it would take it up, and then I could tuck that into my shirt. So I felt much easier around sanders and even working around the forge. But you got to be careful. I'd much
See,
rather have
as you can see, I lost all my beard and hair on a forging accident.
it's better to have beard. It's better to have bearded and burned it off than to never have bearded at all.
No, I had it. Don't try to shame me. It's just I choose to shave it every day. So not every day,
And
every other day.
yeah, and you look marvelous. You look marvelous. So Jeffrey, yeah. So where can people again? Where can we find your beautiful knives? Let us know.
You can look me up on MC Bladesmithing Facebook group. You can also find me on Instagram, Jeffrey McGuffey. I'm on TikTok, MC Bladesmithing, and regular old Facebook. My name is Jeff McGuffey.
Sounds good. Guys, if you're not friends with this gentleman out there, go look him up. And you can also find him out on the Rivers Experience. You can find him out on the Knives Templars Facebook group. And he is just a wonderful soul, always has something nice to say to people. And we always have something nice to say to him because he's always producing something beautiful. Hey, Jeffrey, it has been a blessing to have you on the show, and we look forward to developing a friendship with you. And as we do with everybody, we got to take a vote. So I'm going to vote for Eric. Otis here, you can vote for Joey since we're the senior members on this team. Eric says yes, because Eric's nice like that. Chip's vote, and this is to get you in as a Knives Templar. Chip says, oh yeah. Let's see what Don does tonight. Otis here, Joey says,
oh yeah.
Console delay. Yeah. Woohoo. Yeah, Otis here says,
oh yeah, my friend. Let's go.
Mark?
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. And Don, what do you say?
Oh yeah. That's right.
I love cowboys.
So
well
Jeffrey,
done, buddy.
Welcome to the Knives Tim. Yeah, we'll see you on the next show. And as a Knives Templar, you have all the rights and privileges. We will have you on the show anytime you want to come on and say hello. You just let us know you want to come on. We'll plug you in for a quick hello. We'll have you back as a guest in the future. If you're on one of the shows like Last Blade Sanding or any other show that you want to promote, please come on and do that. And also, so you know, Otis here will be sending out your certificate noting that you are a member of the Knives Templars. He does stamp it in ink with the paw of the panther that he killed down in Brazil for authenticity, and it entitles you to all the rights. Yep, it entitles you to all the rights and privileges of being a Knights Templar, which means you have no decision-making authority or any budget for spending any money on anything. But you're welcome to the team. We'll see you on a future show, Jeffrey. Welcome to the Knives Templars. Have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
See you, guys.
All right, guys. Well, I tell you what, Jeffrey is one heck of a knife maker, one great guy. And just as he said that knife making saves a lot of our, I don't want to say it saves our souls because we know how our souls are saved, but it certainly gives us peace on earth. And we are so pleased to have Jeffrey on the show.
It was.
With that being said, I'm out of breath. Let's take a break. Let's take a break now. We'll be right back.
Pop's Knife Supply was started 40 years ago and is owned by 4 professional knife makers. Andy Roy of Fiddleback Forge, Alan Searles of W.A. Searles Knives, Joey Berry of J.B. Knife Works, and Dirk Lutz of Dirk Lutz Knives make a great team of owners carrying on the traditions and business started by James Poplin. Over 4 decades in business is a testament to the best customer service with same-day shipping on weekdays. Pops only charges actual shipping, and any shipping differences are refunded on your orders. Everything you need to make knives, from grinding, steel, pin stock, heat treating, and more, can be found at Pops. Visit them at popsknife.supplies. And now, back to the show.
All right, guys. Well, we're back, and I want to welcome our friend, Mr. Fry, Mr. Jason Fry, who's got a tip for us this week. Jason, let us know what you have to say.
Hey, Jason Fry here. Just want to talk a little bit today about good belts. I've talked about cheap belts before and what I think they're good for. I want to talk about belts that do the real work, belts that are expensive, but they get the job done. There's some expensive specialty belts, but in general, the most useful expensive belts are going to be your high-end ceramic belts. Now, let me talk about what those are and what they do. So they are what they sound like. They've got little bits of ceramic grit attached to, impregnated on, glued to the belt, and that grit is very hard. It cuts metal very, very well. So you've got an expensive belt that cuts metal well. Let's talk about that. One thing you need to think about is whether the metal you are grinding is hardened or not. I personally favor a ceramic belt run pretty much wide open for grinding hardened steel. When I do thin kitchen knives or things like that, I usually grind post heat treat, and a good high-end ceramic belt is the best for that. Personally use the 3M Cubitron 2s, the 984s, but the Norton Blaze is a fairly equivalent. I have found, though, that the Blaze seems to cut a little better on unhardened steel. So here's what I think about that. You take your best belt and you use it under the toughest conditions. And if you have a belt that doesn't quite work as good, you don't use it under the toughest conditions. You use it on your unhardened steel. Personally, I'm of the opinion that if you use your high-end belts on low-end tasks, you're just throwing money away. So I use, again, quality ceramic belts like the Blaze or the Cubitrons for grinding hardened steel and also for rough shaping. Another thing you'll need to mess with is speed and pressure. So you'll find some belts cut better at high speeds, others at moderate speeds. You'll find that some belts really want you to put a lot of pressure into the belt. Some belts really don't care. So that's why I hesitate to tell you what the best belt is, because there are so many variables in how you use it. You will need to find the belt that cuts the best for your grinding style. But I do strongly recommend a good high-end ceramic belt for grinding hardened steel or for rough grinding your blanks before heat treat. Our friends at Pops and also USA Knife Maker and also in one of my books, there's places where you can find a good broad overview of belt types and experience people's favorite ones. I highly encourage you to look that up. It is worth your time to learn about belts, not just throw a bunch of money at them. But if you're going to throw money, a good high-end ceramic belt is a very, very useful thing. Time for me to get back out in the shop and do what I do best. Well, maybe not best, but I'm better at knife making than I am at talking about it anyway. We'll see y'all next time.
Hey, this is Jason Fry. Did you ever think knife making would be easier if you just knew all the tricks? Well, good thing for you, I wrote a book on the subject, Knife Making Hacks, 384 Tips to Make Knives Like the Pros. It combines my years of experience with the research I've done on other writing projects with pretty pictures of some of the world's best knives. There's some humor in there as well as some good knife making wisdom and knowledge. It's available wherever books are sold, gundigest.com and my website, frycustomknives.com/books. Pick up a copy today and learn to make a knife like the pros.
Thanks, Jason. I tell you what, guys, next time you're out on the web, be sure and go find Jason's book and learn a little bit all the tips and tricks he's got. I tell you what, I have been trying his tips and tricks, and I tell you what, it just makes knife making easier, and you know that you're sharing some of the same frustrations or getting some of the same, coming up with some of the same ideas that other knife makers do. And there's no sense in going at it alone. So be sure and check out Jason Fry's books and learn his tips. Hey guys, how about some topics tonight?
Yeah. All right.
Topics or questions? Topics or questions? Which one you want to do first?
Yeah, let's do questions.
And
I agree.
And questions it is. And questions it is. Let me find my questions here in my little book of papers. Here we go. I have 4 questions tonight. Right. The first one is from our buddy Nick. And Nick writes in and says, "Hey guys, I'm having a hell of a time getting in plunge lines and bevels to be even and not multifaceted. If steel and belts were free, I'd use steel to practice, I guess. I'm wondering if making wooden knives may help with bevel grinding practice.
Can I take
do
that?
it, Pinto.
I think we had something similar on last show. Go right ahead.
No, I wouldn't go messing around with wood. First, there's a whole different consistency than steel. Like we talked about last podcast, we were talking about something similar. There's a whole different consistency between wooden knives and steel, right? So it wouldn't be the same thing. Number 2, if you want to get a nice consistent plunge lines right there, I would start by getting a file guide with the carbide inserts, so you can take that all the way up to the belt and not ruin your file guide. That will help you put those crisp plunge lines in there, and afterwards you can take a file to it and finish with the file, making sure that everything is nice and squared away.
Sir, can I ask you a question about file guides while we're answering this? I've got a file guide that is just steel. It's hardened steel, but I see the carbide file guides that have a carbide layer in there.
Yep.
How they're quite a bit more expensive. How well do they hold up to the belts and stuff? Are they worth that extra money?
Oh yes, definitely. You can take the carbide insert all the way to the belt and it will not grind away. Okay, just do it. Okay, you won't regret it. If you have my really nice one that I sent the pictures to you guys, the monster guide that I got from Brazil, that one I use specifically for my Ricasso Tang shoulder, because I only use a file on that thing, and that is due to the fact that it's hardened steel, right? It's D2 steel, so no carbide in there. But if you want to be able to work on a belt, get some carbide insert ones. You're gonna be happy that you did.
Yeah.
Should I edit that out?
Florida man, baby. Florida man.
Florida man.
Alabama
man.
Alabama.
That was Michelob Ultra. That's good advice. You're not going to get comfortable doing something until you're doing it on something that has the same characteristics of what you're using. So if you start making wood, you're going to make beautiful wooden knives at sometimes, and you can get away. I wouldn't go out and buy anything but aluminum oxide belts, because you'll never tear those up either. But the first time you take it to a piece of steel, you're going to have the same problem. Don,
like we said last week, I was saying about should I go down and buy just regular steel like Lowe's, stuff like that, but all steel grinds differently. If I was him to practice, I would call Pop's Knife Supply and get some of their Pop's 8670, because it's not that more expensive than steel.
Regular steel.
And go ahead and heat treat it and do what you got to do and just practice on that. I would agree with. I mean, I don't hand grind, but I would definitely get me a good file guide, just like Pinto said, if I was grinding, by hand,
Yeah. You know what I would do? I would collect all those shavings and leftover pieces and cut them up and put them in a crucible and
do that
melt them
too.
down and beat them out.
Heck
with
yeah.
a knife again later when you get done.
That works.
Yeah, when you get done, turn it. But you'd have to have some additional equipment for that.
And so yeah, it's very important. This a file guide for plunge lines and ricassos and tank shoulders. It's essential. I mean, you can try to do
Yeah.
it without, but if you want nice, crisp, straight lines, you have to have
Yeah.
a guide. I mean,
Have you ever used the technique? Has anybody used technique where you use just a small, either a chainsaw file or a small round file, and then put your plunge lines in with a round file first, and then grind your bevels to that? Because that gives you that nice, crisp plunge line, and then you grind your bevels to that line. Which could be a technique used if you don't have a file guide.
Yeah.
yeah, I did. I did. The problem is, right, if you want to have
Symmetric.
even plunge lines on both sides of
Okay.
the blade, right? Let's say you twist your file a mil to the left or a mil to the right on each side of the knife. I
Sure.
mean, you're not gonna have those
Perfect.
perfect lines going down the side of
Hmm.
the knife, right? You can freehand. A lot of people freehand and they put a little tick mark on the knife and then they'll bring the belt all the way to that section and pull away, right? It works. I did it before, but when you grab your knife and you look from the edge towards the
Hmm.
spine, right, you're gonna have a little discrepancy there between one side and the other. So that is something to be mindful of. If you don't mind having a little difference there, you know it's not a big deal. But if you want to be something like I'm holding now on the thing here, right, if you look on my plunge lines there, the listeners can't see it, but my plunge lines are identical on both sides,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Do you
And
use a J Flex belt or anything to get that nice roll in like that, or a thin belt, or are you using just a standard?
no,
You
I
know,
do that on a hand file.
I'm talking about your
Talk about the plunge lines.
where your plunge line comes up. Yeah.
Oh,
I do
really? A
it with the
round
file.
file? Is it a
Oh, that's
round
some of the
file
fun.
or?
Oh, wow.
Nope, 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 no. A regular flat file. And what I did on the sides of the
Yeah.
file, I
Okay.
ground that out so it's smooth,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm scraping the sides of the file onto the file guide and pushing it,
Yeah.
keeping that nice straight line from
Okay.
top to bottom.
Yeah. I'm using a file guide and a J Flex belt, and I use a small ruler that's got um, metric increments on it, and I'll just bring my belt out over the side of my plat, and the same on both sides, and then I just roll that into the J Flex belt, which has this nice curved rollout because it's so thin, and I get very nice lines that way. But I will tell you, you can't believe the number of knives it shows that you turn over, and the bevel lines, don't really match up too well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is one of the first things, like Jeffrey was talking. He's working on his ABS thing.
Yeah.
When the judges are looking at your knife, right, for the ABS testing, one of the first things that they look is symmetry on both sides of the knife, right? The plunge line has to match on both sides. You know, the guard matching to the ricasso, straightness of the blade, everything goes together. Uh, and I picked up a few tricks from the last blade show, and I've been using it. And I'm telling you, man, if you're struggling with your plunge lines, a file guide is the answer. A good file guide is the answer.
Yep.
Pops have them.
Yes,
Just
they do.
yep,
They sell Elise,
That's what
Ethan
I'd buy.
Lee's
yep.
Yep.
file guides. Yeah. I saw one that Joey was using today. I looked up. I can't remember the name of it. I looked it up as a picture when he had. What are you laughing about?
Jeffrey.
Oh, Jeffrey's making faces. But I thought you were laughing at Joey. But he has a carbide file guide that he's using, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was on our group. I looked up. It was about
There are several
$100.
makers, man. I have
Yeah,
3.
yeah, yeah. Well, cool. So, guys, don't sand your wood. Go get you some steel and sand steel. Learn to grind knives. Do plunge lines. One guys want to do another one?
Yeah, let's do another one.
Yeah. Let's go.
Peter says, I've been bladesmithing for 1 year now, and I can see the progress I've made. I have a handful of orders from word of mouth, but on occasion I've been asked if I have a website for my knives, which I don't. Any advice or suggestions for a new bladesmith looking to grow? So I assume he wants to grow his website, grow his website presence. So I guess I'm the resident expert here right now on that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what I would say, guys, is if you want to go grow a web presence, you need to do one thing. You need to consider, in this day and age, social networking is very important to a website, and you've got to tie it into your Instagrams and your Facebooks and your TikToks and the other things that you belong to. With that being said, make sure you've already got those established and you're constantly feeding them. Developing a small blog that you contribute to occasionally, write a little story for, and you don't have to be an expert, just write your thoughts in a blog, also help. But you want to develop a website. Well, many of them are out there, and I will tell you the one that I use. I've been a GoDaddy customer since about 2002 or 3, and all my websites I've always had hosted on that particular site, with the exception of this podcast. It's hosted through another provider. Meaning the podcast audio you're listening to here, the podcast website is through GoDaddy. Back in the day, I come from the group of people that used to write HTML and language developing websites, and now they make it so easy to go in and use some of their web maker tools or website making tools, where you purchase your domain, you purchase your hosting account, and then they have all these little modules that you can plug in, such as your page banner, the different elements, whether you want a photo album, whether you want to write stories, whether you want to put a picture with an offering, and you can add different pages, and it guides you through the whole thing. Now, if you do know how to write some web language, which I still do, you can go in and write some of that language even into those websites. They have modules built for that so that you can make your website stand out even a little bit more. But the neat thing about it is all of the different templates they have, while they are kind of cookie cutters, you can bring your individualism to it through your photography, your ability to draw. They have tools there for that, but the things that you can do with your colors, the fonts you use, and this, that, and the other, and no one will ever know that you're using a website maker within GoDaddy. It's like I said, the one I use. There's other ones out there, but honestly, you don't need any more than that. You can go out and see my website at shegmanknives.com, SKJEGGMENNKINVES.com, or you can go to the knivestemplars.com, and those are both made with website makers. And then I added a little code in to do certain things, but it's amazing what you can do. Here's what I would say. Don't fall into the trap of someone saying, I'll produce your website for $100 a page, and then you have to start paying them every time you want to change some little thing. It's a dangerous trap to get into when you can do it yourself. When you develop that site, and I'll, trying to tie it up here for you, I've been kind of long-winded, but when you make that site, there's modules in there to tie it back to your social media. So if you've got a podcast, you can put links in there, and that'll come up on your regular website. If you've got a Facebook account, there's direct links in there to take people to your Facebook account, to your marketing accounts, to your groups, to the things that define who you are on the different social media platforms, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, or so on. And then you develop a full package. It gets to be a thing where you have to stay on it all the time. Many things, if you post Instagram, it may post on Facebook and TikTok for you while you make that single post. But if not, you need to keep all of those aspects somewhat active. So when you're trying to make knives, you're also trying to market yourself. But with a good year, you'll start popping up in the search engines, and people will start seeing your brands, and you'll start getting feedbacks, and you're a success when people start coming in and paying you a lot of respect and asking questions about your stuff and how you do it through your submittal pages. So go out and do it. And if you have any questions, send me, Chip Carlisle, a note on the knivestemplars.com. Put in website help and send me a note. I'll give you some feedback. I'll spell all that out for you. Be happy to help you. That's all I got there.
Yep, talking about that, I still haven't gotten mine. So
I told
one
you,
of these days I'll get a website.
$100 a page and a monthly activity fee of $75 per page. And you'll be looking good, Otis. No, Otis, you know I'm indebted to you as a friend.
Yeah, with the website thing, man, it's just that I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but I just don't think I'm ready for that. So I just keep pushing it and pushing it. One of these days I'll say, okay, I'm ready, and then jump on it.
Yeah. Well, just let me know when you are. I'm there for you, baby. I'm there for you,
Thank
baby.
you.
So, hey, let's take another break. We'll come back. Some questions. Or who knows what else. Maybe Otis Sear will want to do some Porkhouse Playhouse. We'll be right back. Hey guys, what was your source of inspiration when you first decided to make knives? Many go to the books and also some go to the web, but many also head to YouTube for videos. Well, we are fortunate enough to have Eric Rivers from the Rivers Experience as a co-host on the Knives Templars. But you know what? He's also a sponsor, and I tell you, 27,000 followers can't be wrong in following his skilled and educational regular videos that teach the fine arts of making beautiful knives. I know because I'm a subscriber to his channel and I learned at my pace and without making those mistakes by walking in the dark regarding knife making. Be sure and check out his channel, The Rivers Experience, on YouTube or his website at theriversexperience.com. And now back to our show. So welcome back, guys. One thing I want to let you know, we've got some specials going on. And if you buy an Ameribraid machine, they've got 3 different levels of grinding packages, and you put in Templars 100 through April 30th, you can get $100 off of your package. So make sure that if you go to Ameribraid and buy a grinder, put in that Templars 100 for that. We're also sponsored by Phoenix Abrasives, and if you are purchasing abrasives online, be sure and put in Templars 10 for 10% off your order at Phoenix Abrasives. And have we talked about everybody's favorite wood?
No. Olegs.
Oh, Olegs?
Yeah. Olegs? Well, let's just wait. We'll talk to about Oleg's wood, but I will tell you, he's been dropping.
Yeah, we got to get him on the show one day, right?
We are. The only problem is he's blocked out from Russia. We can't get him in here. He can get to Facebook, but he can't get many other places. But we'll talk about Oleg a little later. But I just want to get everybody excited because I sure love Oleg's wood. It's beautiful stuff. So anyway, hey guys, how about questions are good tonight. We got a buddy, Jordan, and he says, this is a question for you guys, not me, because I've only done one. Jordan says, does anyone have any advice or tricks for getting the epoxy in the handle on a hidden tang construction? I'm using G-Flex typically, and that shit gets everywhere.
I don't know exactly what does he mean getting into the handle. I mean,
well, I assume that when you've got a hidden tang that he's trying to get it down into the void, so he's got good epoxy coverage inside where that hidden tang is going to slide into.
Okay, I can tell you how I do it. I don't know if it's the right way to do it, but this is what works for me. So here it goes.
Number one, he says, take your clothes off, close all the curtains in your shop.
You gotta be naked in the moon, right? No, I mean it depends on the. I mean, first it has to be very runny, right? So you can just dump it in there. I have, I went to at CVS, and I bought a whole bunch of those small disposable coffee cups, and I mix
Yeah.
it in there, for the prescribed amount of time, and then I just, just pour it in. I mean, there is nothing to it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean,
Do you, well, I guess sometimes you may get some bubbles and stuff down in there. I mean, how do you ensure, I mean, that you've got good coverage inside that, I mean, are you sticking
you
something
put
down in
enough
there?
in there that when you slide your tank into the hole,
Mm-hmm.
it bleeds out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, they pretty much ensure full coverage all the way around it, and I mean,
You know what? Haven't done this, but I was just wondering, you can go buy syringes for next to nothing
Oh
at your
yeah,
Walmart.
can.
If you go to there and you take the needle off of them, or you get syringes without the needles on them, and you just suck up the epoxy, you can put that down into where you've um, hollowed out your hole to accept your tang, and just pump it in there, because he says he gets it everywhere. So maybe that would help him to get it in. And also you can take some type of tubing or something, so that you can actually put it down deeper and kind of fill it from the way up. I still, though, if you fill it up completely, and sir, you can tell me, you're going to get a lot of squeeze out, but that's one way to, I would assume, without making too much of a mess, just trying to pour it down in the hole.
I mean, I guess we got Jeffrey there on the side, and he might concur with what I'm gonna say, but you just hold your handle sort of on an
Mhm.
angle, right, and then you just pour it in on the side. Don't try to fill it up from the top because it
That's
will
right.
bubble,
Yeah.
right? You make like a little cap, and then a bubble will come
Mm-hmm.
and burst out. So just hold it, side of a 45-degree angle or something, and just put it on the side,
Yeah.
and then you just and it doesn't take a whole lot of epoxy. Remember that tang is already fitting in pretty tight into that slot.
Right.
So if you don't want to get epoxy all over the place, I would fill it up at least halfway up to that, to the hole that you drill for your tang. And when you push the tang in there, man, there's going to be squeeze out
Mm-hmm.
coming out right next to the guard anyways. So I mean, it, yeah, that's pretty much the
Yeah.
simplest way the simplest way you
Okay.
can do.
I just thought about it. I am a genius. Go out and spend $15 on one of those windshield crack repair kits, and use epoxy instead of their solution. You fill up, you put that thing on the handle end, and lock it down. Pull it back, let it draw a vacuum. Wait 15 minutes, release it, and let all that epoxy shoot down in there
Yeah.
under vacuum. That's overkill, but my gosh, it worked. That's kind of
Yeah, I mean, I do it on the cheap. I'm if I don't have to spend money on the thing, I won't.
yeah,
So all I have is those cheap paper cups, coffee
mhm,
cups that I
Mm-hmm.
bought from CVS. I mean, I think I
yeah,
bought a pack of 100 for like $4 or something.
yeah.
A little popsicle stick, mix it in, and just when you squeeze that cup, it makes a nice a little channel
Spout.
you can just
Yeah.
drop it in. So
And I was joking about that last method I talked about. I've just fixed a lot of windshields in my life. Speaking of those cups, I bought some Solo condiment cups, like in 2005. It's a box of 1,000 of them, and I think I've still got 900 of them left. It's like the most useful purchase I've ever done, and I used it with making fishing lures and making coatings, and
Oh
now I
yeah.
use it with that. Yeah.
I got a question for you, Chip. On the Knives Templars website, does he have video capabilities? For playing video in there?
Man, you videotape yourself, and I will make you a superstar. You just give me
Because
your.
it's something simple like this. On the next hidden thing that I'm working on. Actually, I'm working on right now on this dagger.
Oh
Look at
yeah.
this that thing there, by the way.
Mhm.
Right.
I can record just that section there as I'm gluing up the handle.
Do this
You
for me.
know, it would
Do
take
this for me.
about a few minutes.
Do this for me. Record your next episode. Currently, I've got some of the Knives Templar stuff on my Shegman Knives YouTube page, but I'll put together a Knives Templars YouTube page just for that stuff, and we'll all be able to upload stuff there once I get it set up. I'll set it up where we can all do that. But you can send me your videos, and I can get those loaded up there. I'll put a nice little lead-in graphics on the beginning of it, a little nice Templars logo and tip of the week.
Can also put on our Facebook group, Knives Templar Facebook group
So,
there.
So when you do that, you can just post those links.
Yeah, I can do that. Sometime next week I'll have something.
Let me do it so I can do it through Facebook, because I can put the Facebook videos on our webpage.
Yep.
So that'd be cool. That's a good idea. Good idea. Hey, this next question, last one I got for you today, and it kind of lines up with the same. It's about hidden tangs. David says, how do you line up and drill the hole in the tang on a hidden tang knife? And sometimes he says it's hard to drill through the steel because it's hardened. So two questions here.
Talking about the pin?
The pin hole.
Putting the pin hole. How do you drill it up and line it up so you can put the pin in? And he says sometimes his tangs are too hard to drill through.
I guess that one falls to me again. For the slot for the tang itself, easy enough. I will put the tang on top of my block.
Yep.
I will draw the size of the tang and then put it on a vise my drill vise, right?
Drill press,
the bench vise, whatever.
And
then I will line my bit on the outside of those lines that I put it in there. Then I just drill on drill the thing. As it comes to the pins, your tank shouldn't be hard. Your tank should not be hardened. None of my things are hardened.
He's probably hardened them when he heats. So how could he go back and soften it?
First, dip your knife into a bucket of water, leave the tang out, and just blue it.
Yep.
With a torch?
Yep. Bring a torch to it, nice and blue, and keep it in there until it cools down enough where you can grab it. You really don't want that heat traveling down your ricasso into your blade and softening your steel where you don't want to. But the tang itself shouldn't be hardened, just because of a couple of situations can arise from a hardened tang. One, when you're striking something, it might break. So you don't want that tang to be hard, right? It has to be soft enough to absorb that that shock. And two, like he's running into this problem where his tang is too hard, and he cannot go all the way through to pin it.
Make sure you're using a carbide.
If you look,
bit.
I was watching some YouTube some time ago. This historian talking about old swords, and the tangs back then were all made of mild steel, right? And they were using it to pound each other to death with those things, right? And they seldom had a failure, just because of the soft steel will take a lot of shock before it will bend before it breaks, which is better, I guess. So just don't harden your steel, don't harden your tang.
And then always use a carbide tip drill. Don't use wood too. Don't use wood drills. I don't know where he's getting his drill bits. Just make sure it's a carbide tip.
No, I have a nice snap-on set of bits, and they have a hard time going through hardened steel. So just avoid trouble. Keep your tang soft.
Well, yeah, everything will have a hard time going through that. But when you've got your normalized steel, use a carbide bit, and it should cut right through it. If you're using a set of wood bits that have been out in your shop for 10 years, they're not going to do it. Spend a few bucks on a good drill bit. All right, well, that's our questions, and with that, Otis here, I can see you've been sweating because we've been putting you to the test. You've passed it. You've given us all good answers. So we're going to give you a few minutes to dry off the scalp, and
let me get a towel.
Yeah, we'll be right back. Oleg Bashevic has been making stabilized wood and other supplies for knife makers for almost a decade. His stabilized wood products have been used by many of the best and most well-known knife makers in the world. This wood, when turned into knife parts, are stable to humidity, water, snow, oils, and other materials that would prematurely wear out a knife handle. He works out of his shop in Tula, Russia, and produces natural wood products that are as beautiful as Russia's famed Fabergé eggs. Knife makers around the world will tell you that his blocks should not be cut and placed on display. Oleg has distribution centers in Russia and in the United States. He's shipping right out of the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, so if you're looking for something in the States, you can have it in just a few days. I guarantee you'll be excited to get your package that comes wrapped beautifully, already polished, so that you can see the most beautiful grain and colors that he impregnates into each piece of wood. You can find Oleg not only on Facebook, but you can also find him at knife-wood.com. That's knife-wood.com on the internet. Go out and take a look at Oleg's products. I'm guaranteeing you'll be happy to put them on your next knife. And now back to the show. Welcome back. Yeah, that knife wood's something else, isn't it, guys?
Real nice, man.
Knife-wood.com. Yeah, I wish Oleg could, he's in Russia, and unfortunately, governments are saying Russians are bad, and they're saying Americans are bad, but good gosh, if you put us all in a room and gave us a couple hours to get to know each other, we just turn into a happy group of people. We all would love each other. But Oleg makes some of the most beautiful blocks out there. And the great news is you don't have to wait for him to come from Russia anymore. He's got a warehouse or somebody that's shipping them out for him out of Philadelphia. And when I've placed orders, within a few days, they're in my mailbox in Hartselle, Alabama. It's just beautiful. My wife saw some of the ones I was unpacking and looked at them, and she thought the same thing I do. They're just too beautiful to cut on. She's got a case where she displays some glass that she collects, and we just stuck one in there because it's got some special lighting and stuff, and they just look like museum pieces. So when you put them on knives, I had a guy one time saying, "I don't know why you're using that stuff on your knives. Just regular wood looks great. You shouldn't, you're making your knives look too modern." And he saw a set of scales that I'd used Oleg's wood on, and he was hooked after that. He wanted a knife made out of it as well. So y'all go out and check out knife-wood.com and see what Oleg's got to offer.
Yeah, I had one of those. It kind of looked like a piece of cheesecake.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, like
I wanted to take a bite out of that thing, man. That was awesome.
I was like, "Do what?" He's got some pretty stuff. That tuna knife I made. I got a knife that had kind of oceany looking colors in it, some golds and some blues and some greens and all in there. And the guy that got it, he is just teetotally in love with it. And I think he loves the handle more. And it's a unique looking knife, but he is totally in love with that particular knife handle. And I've got a similar piece of wood on the next one I have to make for a guy down in Florida. And I'm sure that he'll feel the same way. You don't have to be a good knife maker when you put knife wood on your handles. They just dress that ugly steel right up.
Yeah.
Guys, let's move into a section here now. I want to go into some particular topics. And some of these came up last time and through some communications that we've had. And so these are kind of my topics this week and for us to talk about. But, last time we got into a discussion that there's a lot of people that do a lot of great things out there. And Chris was on the show with us, and he had said, that you can do something very good, but support those other makers who do the things that they do. When it comes to supporting other makers of all kinds of things, of course we should. As a matter of fact, anything I can buy locally here in my small town, I buy it before I go to a bigger box store or even to Amazon. And it's so easy to buy off of Amazon because we're all accustomed to just waiting a few days for it to arrive now. I still buy locally if I can. But I'm creative and a maker, and I don't want to just do one thing. I have already got my stabilizing equipment set up and ready to order. I'm in the process of buying a very nice anvil. I've got a tire hammer that I'm going to purchase before the end of summer. I saw someone else on this show doing some beautiful work today. I'm getting ready to put together some segmented handles with some unique materials to make some beautiful handles. And I know there's people out there that do that, but I don't know. I feel more complete as a maker the more I can do to make my product rather than put other people's products on my steel. What are your thoughts? And this isn't against the other suppliers and makers that do those special things. This is an individual thought on you as a maker.
So I think you're probably getting into, as you become good at more of those things and then adding them in. But, I would say that, like for handle material, right, if you're not at the point of stabilizing or making segmented handles or any of those things, at some point in your journey, that there's some, amazing makers that specialize in those areas, right? Sarah and Oleg and
Yeah,
Well, she
she
does
does.
beautiful work.
and
Yeah,
so
they both do.
so getting some of that into your knife where you're maybe working on your grinds and your knife making, and then using some of those other specialized pieces to your piece of work. I
Mhm.
think it's great. But also, I think, like you said, as you move along in your journey and you're getting one thing down, there's probably that drive in all of us that we want to try that next step or one more thing and add it to your skill set
Yeah.
as you become a better and better maker of your life.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, you made a good
You're
point
right
there.
because
Go
it's
ahead, Don.
like stabilizing. I brought that from my last as wood turner. I had to stabilize a lot of the burls because you couldn't turn it because it just fall apart. So, um, but stabilizing, I mean, that's just that and casting resin and stuff like that. It's something I did in my last makers I did, but I just brought it right on into wood turning. I mean, into knife making from wood turning. But I think as a maker, I think we're just not satisfied staying in one lane. I'm not. I mean, I like doing different things, but um, I started out woodworking and then got into wood turning, and then now went into scroll saw art. I did epoxy art. And they all have to do with wood, So, but I think that you got Oleg. I got another man. I got another guy that I know him very well. He does some beautiful handle material, and he ships all over the world. And he's another guy that we talked the other day, and he's been stabilizing burls and stuff for years, man, on the commercial level. But as a maker,
Yeah.
I always want to do different things. So I say go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had a knife making factory, I would have a handle department. I'd have a steel department. I would have a pen department. Um, I would, and I would order supplies to do all those kind of things. And I think for two reasons, there would probably be some cost savings in it, but also for the fact that it would be teetotally uh, my product. And on an individual level, as a hobby maker like me, I like the idea. Now, let me say this: Scales by Sarah, or
Mhm.
Sikowski Scales as her partner.
Beautiful,
Man, they make
beautiful
some
scale.
gorgeous stuff. You can, and every knife
Mhm.
maker has their own style. You can look at my knife versus Mark's or Jeffrey's or Otis's or yours or anybody else's, and they've all got a different style. So to say that, hey, I'm going to do what she does or he does, it's not the same. You've got your own style. Like I said, their stuff is beautiful. Um, so with that being said, it's not to critique them, but why would I go out and spend $60 on something I can make for myself for, $10, $15 to make something really special, or even less if I can make it to a level that I want to that represents me and my artistic ability. It doesn't mean that I won't ever go out and buy one of Oleg's blocks because I can't duplicate what he does right now. And I can't get the wood that
Hmm.
he's got. I've got a piece of maple burl from Siberia. I can't get a piece of maple
Nope.
burl from Siberia unless I go through him. So yes, I'm going to buy that, but it's about the ability to grow your talent, your skill to become an all-inclusive product maker. Otis here.
So I got a couple of things to say about that. Okay, first, right? Yes, you should always strive to better yourself, learn new skills, put in practice what you've learned. Okay, life never stops. Always push yourself. That's why I'm working on what I'm working right now. It's
Yes.
been about a week working on this dagger. It's a difficult
Yes.
thing for me. Okay, when it comes to stabilizing wood, right? I thought about it, and yes, I probably could make it what you said. You spend like $15 and stabilize a block. However, in my case, time is more important than the
Sure.
amount of money I'm going to spend
Exactly.
getting that block, right? So it's always have that cost benefit situation that I have to analyze, right? So for me, it's not worth it. It is not worth the time for me to stabilize a piece of wood. Don knows how long does it
Yep.
take to get through a good stabilize. Talking about Don got some good wood too,
Yeah,
right?
it's great. His stuff is beautiful.
And
I've seen not only have I seen the wood that he's got, I've seen some wood that he's gifted to people, and if I've received a gift from Don, and we all send things to each other here and there, and he does some of the most beautiful work as
Thank you.
well. I'm
and
impressed with you, Don.
I guess Don would be our premier expert here when it comes to stabilizing, right? And he will tell you how long does it take to get a block
Yep.
properly stabilized. And
Oh
when I
yeah,
say properly stabilized, I can attest to it. Okay,
yeah,
I can attest to it. So I mean, I you can watch some YouTube videos and you can learn stuff. And I'm not discouraging you to do it whatsoever. If that's what you want to do, God bless you. Go for it. But I wouldn't do it just because I don't have the
Mm-mm.
time for it. Right.
you're speaking of
So it's
yourself
one of
personally.
those things,
Yeah,
right, where I'm very restricted in how much time I have available for
yeah.
me to work on my knives.
Well,
So,
that's a
but yeah,
great
man,
point.
if you're gonna do it, go ahead. I mean, I would take some classes with Mr. Don here because he
Yeah,
can really help
Thank
you
you.
out.
yeah. I think it's easy. Um, I think it's easy to become great at a lot of things. There's no one that says you have to be great at one thing. You can be great at a lot of things.
Yeah, of course.
I can still turn out fishing lures that would amaze you guys, and Don can turn out, wooden turnings off of his lathe. I mean, hell, we've seen that hat you made, Don. I mean, that's just an engineering feat as much as it is an artistic feat. We can become really good at a lot of things that we do, and I just don't think that our mind should stop just to get good at one thing. But again, like you said, time and money and all that has to be considered. Hey, Mark, speaking of gifting anything, I don't think you and I have gifted anything to each other yet, have we?
No, I don't think we have.
I would like to you have to find this first. I need you to find about a 1910 Hay Budden 190-pound anvil, and I have a nice, fairly new Turkish anvil I will trade to you. This is a nice
Yeah,
one from
even
Turkey.
up. All
I
right.
will trade to you. Yeah, even up, baby, even up. So you just let me know when you find that Hay Budden. And hey, no, seriously, Mark, I'll
Oh, that's
have
nice.
something to send your way. Mark, you going to go to Blade Show with us
I
this year?
am. I am. I won't be there one day because I have to head up for my niece's graduation, but I will be there for I think 3. How many days is it?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I typically drive in Saturday morning
Yeah.
and visit for a little bit on Sunday and drive back. But I will tell you this: I will gift you your Knives Templar shirt for this
Oh,
year when we
thank
go.
you.
All right.
That's all
Don't let
five,
me
all 8
forget.
of us.
Don't let me forget.
Is that for 8 of us?
Don,
Oh no,
Don,
I
are you
won't. I
going?
probably won't be going to Blade Show, but you can send it in the mail. I give you my address.
Oh. Don, you
You
never
don't
know
never
what
know,
may
man.
show up at your house. I'm sending a Viking dude 2 pairs of Liberty
Hey,
overalls and a
that's
Shegman
work.
knifer shirt right
That'll
now
work.
just because I like him. And did you guys know Jarl Eric in our
Yes.
chat group? Yeah, from Norway.
Mhm.
I've been friends with
Mhm.
him for several years, and I told him I got a couple pair of overalls and a Shegman shirt to send over to him. And the thing is, you send something to Norway. I guess it's that way anyway. It was like $100 just to send, this stuff. And I don't mind that. I mean, it's all friendship. But even like when I was talking to our blacksmith friend from Ghana today, I was like, "Well, how much for the 3-pound hammer?" And he's like, $249 to ship it. And
Oh
I'm like,
man, that's the problem.
"Oh, I would
Yeah.
love to support him and buy one of those hammers, but
Mm.
it's just really, I'm sad to
Shipping
say it's so
is
cost
a
prohibitive."
killer.
Yeah.
Same thing with that file guide I got from Brazil. The only reason I actually bought it was because my sister was coming this way.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid 150 for the guide, and it would have been another 150,
Man.
almost 200 for shipping.
Yeah, I would rather send him something, a donation for his mother's health,
Yeah, I
than
would
have
too.
to pay that shipping. I
Man.
would soon do that. I don't have a problem with that. But
Man.
$300 for a knife that I mean, Otis here, how much did your hammer cost?
$100.
Yeah, it's a beautiful hammer.
And,
And
I got to watch it being
awesome.
made.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So I don't want to sound bad saying I'm not going to spend this much money on that hammer, but it really shocked me when it was that much, especially when I'm going to spend $800 on an anvil. That's like quarter of an anvil, a little bit more than a quarter. Anyway, hey, I'm worn out again. We'll be right back.
Majestic Forge is owned and operated by Brian and Kayla Horn in Rushville, Ohio. With many years of experience manufacturing 2 to 5 burner gas forges, Majestic Forge is your #1 source for blacksmith forges, farrier forges, and specialty forges. They are dedicated to creating top-of-the-line forges at a price you can afford. Majestic Forge has supplied forges to blacksmith schools, high schools, colleges, production shops, and TV shows such as Mythbusters. And Majestic Forge is the forge of choice for televisions forged in fire. Knife makers are in luck as they offer forges that come with 2 or 3 deluxe burners. Here at Knives Templars, we are sure that you can find a USA-made Majestic Forge to suit your needs. Check out your next forge at majesticforge.com.
All right. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. We want to make sure we get all the ads in because you know what? They don't pay the bills, but we love their products and we want the world to know about what they have to offer. And that's what's neat because when nobody's paying you to run their ads and you're just endorsing great products and great companies, it's truthful, We have nothing to gain and it's truthful. We're just supporting each other. But hey, go to the knivestemplars.com. If you've got products out there that are knife making related, send them to us. Doesn't have to be expensive. We're not looking to get gifts or this, that, and the other. Send it to them for an honest review, and we'll post it on the Knives Templars website as we have going to be starting some product reviews. I could use a nice TR maker carbide file. I'm joking. No, and if you want us to send things back after we review them, I'll be more than happy to do that as well. You pay the shipping, but I will be more than happy to. Because
I could use a new motor in a VFD.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you talking to?
Anybody listening out there who want to send me a motor in a VFD?
You'll do a nice review.
I'll be more than happy to.
But you got to send it back, Otis here.
Nah.
Seriously though, if you guys have something you want us to try out and you've got a particular show host that you want to try it out based on their abilities or who they are, this, that, and the other, if you get in touch with us through the website, we will connect you. And I can guarantee you that as we start our blog on the website, you will get a great product review that'll stay out there as long as our website is live and support your products with a very truthful, very, very truthful review. Anyway, get in touch with us if you're interested. Guys, another topic.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it.
What is the benefit of a disc? What is the benefit of a disc grinder? Why do I need one of those disc grinders? And one of those, do I need a variable speed drive? And how are they best used? What's a disc grinder for anyway? What's a disc grinder for anyway? All right.
I got
start us off.
I bought one back, I don't know, probably about 5 months ago. Yeah, disc grinder, 9-inch. I think the one good thing about it is that it is variable speed. I would not buy a disc grinder for knife making. For woodworking, it's fine, but for knife making, a 9-inch, you could be able to use the whole sheet paper and cut it and fit your 9-inch disc. It just fits. It's beautiful. But I have a variable speed, and knife making, everything variable speed is a plus if you can afford it. Everything's variable speed. So,
well, it keeps you from burning stuff or tearing it
because
up
what
or going through
happens
it
when
too
you
fast.
use a lot of micarta handle material, it will burn. It will burn the micarta. So
Gum up.
Got to go real
Gotta
slow.
go slow.
So what are you using this disc grinder for? What in the heck am I using one for? And why can't I just use the one on the side of my 2x42 sander? It's got a little
Well, I mean,
6-inch disc.
it's kind of
back there.
small, but I use mine to. I just got in this week, started to make my own scales. I posted it on our private chat group. I did like 4 sets. Thank you.
You did a nice job.
But the main thing with a disc grinder, you need a good table for it too, and it's got to be flat. You got to be able to get 90 degrees or 45 degrees or whatever. And I would say spend the money and get a good one. Another thing too is the run out on the disc itself. I had the flat disc. I would definitely make sure the disc, when it spins, it's at. I had a 12-inch disc sander at one time. It had like the run out on this disc, man, was like 9-10 thousandths, man. It was like I could never get anything flat. But yeah, I would recommend getting one if you're going to do some handle materials, flatten your handle materials and stuff like that. But
So it offers the ability to get really good flat surfaces. Say if you're cutting
Yep.
some of Oleg's wood in half and being able to set it on that and get a truly flat surface so it mates up
yeah,
to
you can be
your
able to do
tang
that.
very
Yes.
well. Now, I've seen some guys also using them to grind out their culinary knives. What is the benefit there? Do you know?
Well, you got a nice
Yeah.
flat sides.
I think Chris
Yep,
uses a
he
disc
does.
grinder
Yep.
on them. Yeah.
Yep. You just lay your knife flat on that disc, and then you're gonna work on it, and that's where you're gonna find out how your how your freehand grinding is going, because any divots, any unevenness is gonna show right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went ahead and I broke Don's advice right there, and I got a cheap one from Harbor Freight.
Right.
You know, it's it goes
Yeah, yeah.
but it works. I mean, you know, all them big buoys. I mean, for me to get the fletch nice and
Yep.
even, man, you know, it works.
Well, I've got a 4x30 that I bought good belts for. I order them through Phoenix or Pops, and I use that and I put a piece of rubberized silicone on the back of it, so I don't get that belt chatter. The rubberized silicone came out of a Lowe's store back in the plumbing section. It was 4 inches wide and so long, and I just put it on there with the carpet tape. Bottom line is that I don't get that chatter, and it gives me the ability to get my tangs or my knives sanded nice and flat and nice looking.
Yep.
I can also go to a hard platen with it just by turning it over, and I'll get that. But the other thing is I've got a granite block that's perfectly flat that I use to flatten out my scales. So I guess it's like anything. You can make a knife with a set of files if you want to, or you can get a grinder. I guess assume that you can use a block like that or use other tools, but you're going to have a lot more efficiency with a disc sander.
Well, I wouldn't say. I mean, it's just a matter of all that matters is your paycheck or your checkbook. I mean, you don't need a 9-inch. I have mine. Mine is a True Grit, and I can say the True Grit, the table, everything is just top notch, man. Motor, it's aluminum. I mean, it's top notch piece of equipment. Do you need that? No, you don't need that. I have a sanding, a flat stone, just like you got granite stone. That's the way I did it for doing that.
Right.
But now this one here is a little easier. I knew down the road I was going to start doing my own segmented scales. So if I want to do a segmented scale at, say, a 45 and do dovetail, I want a true 45. Or if I, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't done a 45 with a segmented scale yet, but I will do that. But the main thing too is the run out on the disc itself is terrible on most sanders. The one I had, but
right. That's true. Yeah, because you're talking about when you run out to the edge and everything, and then you start
another
getting
thing
that.
too. That
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Well, I had I had a shot box 12-inch, and for woodworking it was okay. But if you was doing segmented turning, where you did all the pieces and grind them, you need that sander to be able to go in and just tighten up the edge. You don't want any gaps, just like in a knife handle. You don't want any gaps in that between the micarta or the liner material that you're using, right?
Well, I just slap you some colored epoxy in there tonight.
You still will see it, but you want that
I'm
table.
joking.
Don't do that.
You want to be able to set that table at 90 degrees or 40 degrees, 45 degrees, lock it in and get that consistency every time. I couldn't do that with my shop box. So I end up.
Hey, grab your phone and do us a video sometime and we'll put it on the website so that, it'll be a nice little instructional thing. Send that to me.
I was just thinking about this disc sander, and I've seen a couple of grinders that sell attachments where they have the disc sander that you can put it with your belt in there.
So,
I don't know if it's any good or is it worth the money, but you have that option.
So it's funny that you say that. I had emailed, I don't know, maybe about a month ago, Ameribraid and said that, hey, I see that Broadbeck has this disc, sander attachment, disc grinder attachment that they put on the that you could use for an attachment on there. Is there anything planned? Because I'd like to buy it from you guys because I love the Ameribraid product. So they didn't give me an answer, but they said they're coming out with new stuff soon, and so they weren't gonna commit, but I'm hoping that something's gonna come out pretty soon.
Well, I tell you what, when you go out and buy your second machine, so you've got two Ameribraids in your shop, be sure and put Templars 100.
That's right.
In the line, so you get $100 off on that complete machine. You need to do that before April the 30th, by the way. So anyway, just a little note.
No
hey
pressure.
guys, we're pushing the 2-hour mark here, and
wow,
we got a bunch going on. What are y'all gonna be doing this weekend in the next couple of weeks? Fill us in. Let's take her on home.
Well, I go first. We have the pollen dropping. And man, I got up this morning and I had to blow the roof off. I have a tin roof, and you got to get it off. And my pool was full of pollen, so I've been cleaning up on it. We got a rainstorm coming in, supposed to come down tomorrow, and it's just terrible. But I'll be cleaning up yard, stuff like that. And I got a couple knives I'm working on to finish. And other than that, just chilling out, man.
Yeah, I'm going to try I got a door to paint this weekend, but once I get past that, I'm going to get into the shop and I am going to finish that sheath and get a couple knives in the mail on Monday. And I am enjoying forging. I love it. And I've got to make one of my least favorite knives to make, which is I don't really care for making bushcraft knives. But I have someone that really wants one that's a family member. So I'm going to make them one, and I'm considering just going ahead and continuing on and forging that out and do that, get that started for this week for them. Other than that, I'm going to be working on getting this podcast out Monday morning so Jeffrey's friends and colleagues can all hear it out there on the internet. Quite excited for him about that. And just continuing to do my thing. Otis, here, what you got going on? I thought that beautiful dagger you're making. I want to hear.
Gotta keep on trucking on this dagger. I gotta do a little more cleanup on one side.
That's good, man.
It's not the way I want it. Has a little bit of some muck in there that I still have to get it out. Some decarb to bring the hamon out.
Right.
The next side is already pretty much done.
You gonna
And
put some
then I
mustard on
gotta
that?
work on a guard. I don't know what kind of shape of a guard I'm gonna make for the dagger,
Yeah.
but I'll figure something out between today and Sunday. I'm hoping to start that guard on Sunday. Let me tell you something, man. Working on daggers is a
Yeah,
different
it
beast
is.
than working on a knife,
Oh
right?
man.
You have
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
four bevels, right? You have, man, that's something else. And then keeping that center ridge aligned.
Yeah.
It's yeah. If you want a challenge, go for a dagger. I don't know. I'm not planning on it
Yeah.
because I was able to bring out a beautiful hamon on it.
Oh,
Just
that's
as
right. Yeah,
the
that's right.
listeners
Yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah,
No, the
see it,
yeah.
but
Hamon looks
take a
good.
look at the hamon, right?
Yeah, I
So
wasn't
it's
Oh
a
thinking
yeah.
of.
nice hamon. So I'll try to keep that intact.
Yeah, that mustard just looks so much beautiful on that last
Yeah.
knife.
The
That
pattern came out
yeah,
great.
Yep, yep.
The
you,
pattern was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
just I put a little bit of mustard on a paper towel and you
Mm.
just dab it, like that, and I
yeah.
let it sit for I'd say 10 hours.
Wow,
Beautiful, man.
beautiful knife, gorgeous. For the folks that can't see it, trust us, it's gorgeous.
Right, you can see this knife on the a Knives Templar
Yeah.
Facebook group.
Yeah,
If it's not there, I'll put it in right after the show here.
yeah. We need to put a place on the website that'll upload our
Hmm.
pictures and stuff on the
Yeah, that'd be good.
knifestemplar.com. Hey, you going to be riding any more bombs or anything else this weekend? Or are you going to stay off the heavy artillery? Otis
Who,
here.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were riding bombs last week or so.
Artillery shells. Those
You were sitting on you had a big
Ooh.
cannon between your legs, and then you went and jumped
Okay.
on the shell. I think Otis here. The man's
Yeah, I don't know what
confused.
you're talking about, my friend.
Didn't you not take a trip with your wife, and you went and jumped on a cannon?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that was about a month ago, man. No, that was a cannon that we found, an artillery piece from a ship.
Yeah, we know the story, but I was just enjoying watching your Alzheimer's accelerate at the speed of that cannon shell firing.
No, but you
It's
were
like,
talking about last week, and I'm like, last week? What did I do last week?
well, I've got memory issues too now. So come on, give me a break. You got to give. I'm older than you. So you're staying around the house this weekend.
Yeah, probably,
Good deal.
probably.
Good deal. Your son's doing well.
Yeah, he's fine. He's on his, I think, fourth week of tank
Mm.
school.
Yeah.
Right. So I spoke to him earlier today, just before the show. He said that he was able to drive a
Oh, cool.
tank, and he was doing 40 miles an hour on the Abrams,
nice.
which
Yeah.
is
That's great.
awesome. Right. So, so far everything good. He's enjoying the process, having fun, and getting paid for it. So
Yeah.
what else
Sounds
can
good to
you ask?
me.
Bless his heart. Good for him.
He said that sometime next week they're gonna be messing with
Ooh.
the 50
Yeah.
and having some fun with those things as well. So
Yeah. Well, good. Mark, you going to be drinking some high quality H2O down there in South Alabama this
I
weekend?
will. So and besides for that, I'm trying to finish up that little hunter I was showing you
Mhm.
that I'm working
Beautiful.
on. I got to get some scales on there and finish that up, but I'm trying to get it done for the because on Monday my mom is coming down to visit from New Jersey, so I'll have
Okay.
a week that and then my son's on spring break, so so I'll have a little family time and yeah.
spring break.
So when Miss
Mhm.
Soprano comes to town, everybody has
That's right. That's right. You have to check the guns at the door. No,
she's the donna of the
that's right.
family. So
And she listens to the podcast, so yeah.
oh wow.
Or she said she did. So
Does she? I hope she likes me.
Yeah, you gotta do a
that's right.
quiz.
Mhm.
So, hey, listen, on that knife you're making, are you freehanding that, or are you using a jig to grind it out? Either way is fine. I'm just curious. It's beautiful.
I used a file guide for the plunge lines, so
Yeah.
that's what I do. But everything else was freehanded. But I have to tell you though, I kind of worked up to it. Like what I said last time, I start with my my bevels really low. Because I'm not perfect, and I kind of go in at every once in a while. I hit a knot angle, and then it just kind of gives me a little bit of that room that, hey, I can kind of work them up and smooth them out and clear out some of those mistakes. So to get to where I am. So,
well, hey.
Can I do a pinto
yeah,
tip?
actually, absolutely.
Two tips right now.
Keep your pinto tip away from me.
Oh God.
So the way I've been working, I will scribe my center line on the blade, right? And before I start grinding my bevels, I will bring my grinds all the way like on a 45-degree angle, right next to that scribe line to the center of the knife, right? So you have like a permanent mark in there as a guide. As you grind, and you can just go, shallower and shallower angles in there, right? So that helped me quite a bit. You can also do the same thing if you have a tip table. Chip
Yep.
got one.
Can
I
do
think
that.
Don's got one. You can grind a full blade in there. It's not as fast as freehanding, but a tip table will help you a lot, right?
It's a cool tool.
So I used I tilted my standard table for my false edge to kind of get that consistent, and then I did Chip's tip about putting some tape, painter's tape, and to smooth out the. So it works great, and I could see how that tilt table would be nice if you could really crank that angle up for the regular bevels.
Mhm.
But
it's only money,
That's right.
Mark, and your mom will be down next week. So, hey. mommy, I wanna. Hey guys, well, we've come to the end of our show, and we all know what we're doing for the next couple weeks. I can't wait to get back here a couple weeks from now because this is fun. We got to hear how Joey's event went that he went to. I know he's getting ready to do the Texas show. I'm not sure if that's when that's coming up, but he'll be talking about that, and Eric will let us know about the windstorm that he had out, blew out his internet tonight, and we'll see what they're up to. Eric's been doing a lot of traveling lately, and but he's keeping his Tuesday broadcast open, and he's making. So we look forward to getting him back. Guys, questions, comments, product reviews, show and guest ideas, subscribe and email us at the Knives Templars at Yahoo, or DM us on Facebook in the Knives Templars podcast group. You can visit us at theknivestemplars.com to stay up to date. And while you're there, you can just go into one of the forums and you can fill out any questions, comments, or anything that you have and hit the submit, and it'll come right to us. I want you to know this episode is sponsored by The Rivers Experience, Last Blade Standing, knife-wood.com, Ameribraid, and the Templars 100 discount through April 30th. Majestic Forge, Byford's Guns, Pop's Knife Supplies, Maritime Knife Supply, and Phoenix Abrasives and their Templars 10 discount for 10% off your order. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, Amazon, and CastBox. So guys, we've come to the end of the show. Let's tell everybody buenos noches. Good night.
Hasta la vista.
Sempre gute.
Bye-bye.
Ever sharp in Latin.
Good deal. Good night, guys. We'll see you on the
guys.
next episode of the Knives Templars.
Yeah, you have a great week.
Good night.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Brought to you by Porkhouse Productions. Oinky oinky oinky.
Looking for a brand new or used firearm in or around Hartselle, Alabama? Head on down to Byford's Gun Shop and explore their latest offers and deals. On top of a great selection of high quality and affordable firearms to fit your needs, their staff will have you driving away with a smile. Byford's is a third-generation business that has been serving customers since 1971. Started by Joe and his father Ernest, the business continues to prosper well into the 21st century with Jeff Byford's knowledge and leadership. With brands like Benelli, Glock, Sig Sauer, and many others, you won't go wrong. Also check out their large selection of AR-15s and hunting rifles and many calibers. Byford's carries ammunition, special installation service, knives, accessories, transfers, and customer service that's second to none. Stop in and see them at 510 Main Street West in Hartselle, Alabama, or like them on Facebook at Byford's Gun Shop. Their team can be reached at 256-778-3111. That's Byford's Gun Shop, where they go the extra mile to satisfy your shopping experience. Head on over today. They'll be waiting for you with friendly faces.
Yeah, my heart says you love me, but my brain says you do. Craving for money makes me feel remote. I've forgotten how to love. I can't feel a thing. 'Cause you rely on my heart. I can't guarantee. I wanna be a father, I wanna be afraid, I wanna love you deeply, right till the end. I wanna be a father, I wanna be afraid, I wanna love you deeply, right till the end. Sex don't mean a thing if your heart ain't in it. We are miles apart, but love can win. I've been confused, I've been through the ringer. You never see me pull the trigger. I wanna be a father, wanna be afraid, wanna love you deeply, right till the end. Wanna be a father, wanna be afraid, wanna love you deeply, right till the end. Oh. Yeah, wanna be a father, wanna be afraid, wanna love you deeply, right till the end. Wanna be a father, I wanna be afraid, wanna love you deeply, right till the end. To the end. Wanna be a father, be afraid, be a father, oh, be afraid, right till the end.